Yeah, make sure you mute your microphone if you're not talking. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Two Nates on Sports. My name is Nathan Simmons, and with me, as always, is Nathan Kwan. And joining us is our baseball expert, Evan Tenenbaum. But let's start off with the NBA playoffs. There's a pretty huge uh, series going on right now in Texas regarding both the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs, and they played a game last night. Quan, what happened?
Depression happened. Well, so the Rockets won game one on Monday night and they killed San Antonio with the barrage of 3-pointers. And so this city was ready pretty much for the Western Conference Finals. Let's bring on the Warriors. But the Spurs do what the Spurs do. They bounce back in game two. And the last two games, they've locked down the Rockets offense with their defense. They're number two defensively in the league. And the lineup with Pau Gasol and LaMarcus Aldridge at the same time on the floor for the Spurs have killed the Rockets in the past two games. And even though they lost Tony Parker in game two, like the Spurs offense is just it's a well-oiled machine, and you can plug Patty Mills in there and they don't lose a step. And also, I think what contributed to the game one loss and why it was so lopsided was San Antonio offensively was terrible. They took a lot of shots early in the shot clock, and that led to the Rockets getting a lot of runouts in transition. And that's when the offense is really the best for the Rockets. And so I think right now, the Rockets really need to make adjustments because San Antonio has made this series a half-court game, low scoring, and Rockets can't win that way. They can't play in the half court and play lockdown defense because that's not the strength of their team. And we've seen San Antonio dictate the pace. And I mean, James Harden's doing as much as he can. He didn't have a good game too of Kawhi Leonard locking him down. Last night he had 43 points, but the supporting cast provided absolutely nothing. Ryan Anderson continues to be two different players at home and on the road. On the road, he's a sharpshooting machine. At home, he just can't hit the ocean from the beach. Lou Williams provided absolutely nothing last night. Nene has been a zero this series. So they're going to have to find a way to turn it around real quick because the Spurs right now, despite losing Parker, they look so good defensively, and it looks like they've solved the D'Antoni offense. What do you think so far for the series, Nathan?
I mean, I had the Rockets winning the series. I'm still gonna stick with that, honestly, because again, I mean, like, yeah, they got shut down last night, but I still think the Houston Rockets, when they get hot, man, they get hot. I mean, like you saw that game one. Like, I mean, like there was they had the 30-point lead by halftime. Like not even like at the end of it, but like pretty much like right like with 3/4 of the second quarter done, they pretty much had that 30-point lead, and they never really gave it up. And I mean, like, so we know what this Houston Rockets team is capable of when everything's like fired up. It's just whether or not they can get that going again. Because again, like you said, in game two and game three were kind of the inverses of each other offensively, I would say, because in game two, that one is one, like you said, James Harden struggled, but everyone else around him was able to at least like keep the Rockets in the game up until like the fourth quarter, where basically the Spurs went on like a 19-0 run for like 12 minutes or something like that. I can't in the fourth quarter, and completely pulled away from it. And then in the game three, like again, like you said, Harden had the 43 points, but I mean, like again, like Lou Will had the offer, Nene had the offer. So I mean, like you just hope that like these guys can like at least like find some sort of average between those two, and if they can at least do that, then they should be able to get closer games. And if they can get closer games, I think this team can pull it out, especially with the Spurs losing Tony Parker. And as much as Patty Mills has been able to fill in for Tony Parker, at the same time, it's going to A, hurt their bench, and B, like Tony Parker was still arguably one of their best players on that team. But I will say, I mean, kudos to Kawhi, obviously, for being one of the best defensive players in the league. Um, I mean, the past 5 years, honestly, as well as obviously Popovich for being able to adjust and putting up that lineup that at first would you would think about like having Powell and LaMarcus on that playing against a team that specializes in like smaller but faster, sharp shooting 3-point shooters. And you think that the Rockets would have the advantage there, but realizing like how bad the Rockets are at rebounding and basically exploiting that to get like tons of offensive rebounds and get the Spurs second chance opportunities while also decreasing the amount of time that the Rockets have to score. That's a very sound and strong strategy by the Spurs. I mean, it's just now the Rockets. If the Rockets can get back to their sharp shooting ways and making the most out of the possessions they do have by scoring as many threes as possible, I mean, I still think the Rockets can pull this out, but I mean, it's beginning to fade. I would say the belief in that's beginning to fade. I will say that.
Yeah, and I don't know what Tim Duncan said to LaMarcus Aldridge at practice after game one, but he's completely turned it around the last two games, and he's been huge for them. You mentioned the rebounding edge. The Rockets got out rebounded by 15 in game two. They got rebounded by 10 in game three. That's gonna be something they have to fix. I mean, we talked about it in the first round. Oklahoma City was the number one rebounding team in the league, and the Rockets really played well against the Thunder, and they out rebounded the Thunder for most of that series, and they were able to pull out the win. And that just hasn't happened this series. And part of me is just concerned that this is the age old like D'Antoni's offense. Can you win a championship with it? Because when it comes down to the playoffs, the tempo of the game just slows down, and you have to be able to execute in the half court. And the Spurs just seem like right now they've locked in on what the Rockets are running offensively. I mean, last night it was just simple passes. It just seemed everything was off. Like they couldn't just when they swing the ball around the top, they were throwing the ball all over the place. And it's just it seems like whatever adjustments Greg Popovich has made has worked. And I'm concerned. I think they'll win game 4 Sunday. Maybe it's part of me is just hoping they win game 4. And I still see this maybe going to 7. What the Spurs have done defensively, I'm going to stick by my original Spurs in 7. But I mean, the series is far from over. It's just the Rockets have to make adjustments, or because San Antonio right now, the last 2 games, they've had their number.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and going back to like how they were able to handle the rebounding disparity against the Oklahoma City Thunder, I mean, it's just basically like the Rockets stuck to what they were good at and executed their game plan. So I mean, like that's just all the Rockets have to do. I mean, and again, it's just like like everyone needs to be contributing right now. You can't have your star not contributing while everyone's doing well. You can't have your star being the only contributor on your team. You have to have them all working as a well-oiled machine. But we'll see.
Yeah, and like the mid-range jump shot, which is really what the Rockets try to avoid. They shoot threes and frees, right? 3-pointers and free throws and paint points. And the San Antonio's defense has just forced the Rockets off the 3-point line and forced them into taking long twos. And they haven't been good at those, and that's not what they want to do anyways offensively.
Yeah. They need to start like trying to shoot threes way early on in the possession, in the shot clock, I'd say. But anyway, but that's not the only NBA playoff series going on right now. Especially not even in the Western Conference. The Utah Jazz, after finally getting past the LA Clippers, have the distinction and the honor to play against the number 1 seed Golden State Warriors. I mean, do you think the Utah Jazz can eke out a win here, or I mean, is this series pretty much done?
Well, I think the answer to both questions is yes. I think they'll be able to eke out a win, but this series is pretty much going to be over pretty soon. George Hill was out in game 2, and Utah had a pretty good performance. They got down big, but then they fought back. I just think that they're so well coached by Quinn Snyder. I mean, they're basically the baby Spurs in the way they run their offense. And I think they're good enough defensively that they'll be able to force Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and the crew into a bad shooting game or so. And I think they'll be able to win a game. But I mean, we see what Golden State, I don't even think they're running on all cylinders right now. you saw Draymond Green go off in game 2, but you haven't really seen like superstar performance from Kevin Durant yet. And I mean, they're so deep. I think the question for them is really just adjusting to Mike Brown, because Steve Kerr is out for them, and we don't know when he's going to come back. And so I think right so far so good. They're 6-0 in the playoffs, and so I don't think the coaching change there has really affected them. But I mean, I think Utah again, they're gonna fight, and I just in the end, I don't think they're gonna have enough offense. They struggle to score for long periods of time, especially when Gordon Hayward isn't on fire for them. There's not enough guys on that roster that can create their own shot and keep the score moving for Utah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I mean, like, honestly, like, the only thing I might disagree with you there is that the Utah Jazz can eke out a win. Like, I mean, like, it's just not been close the past 2 games, and it's just like, and the strange thing is, I mean, like, the Golden State Warriors. I mean, like, Kevin Durant hasn't even come back, right? Like, I mean, I don't remember seeing him ever in any of the box scores since I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to watch those games, but
no, he's been playing. He's
been playing. Okay.
Minimal impact though.
Minimal impact, yeah. And that's the funny thing too, is just like, again, like, I mean, I know it's kind of been a meme that's been passing around ever since like the first round, but I mean, like, it's really true at this point. It's just that the Golden State Warriors didn't really need Kevin Durant on their team. They just needed him off OKC. And I mean, granted, like, I mean, like, that, which is not to say like OKC would necessarily have won it all this year, especially after the way that Victor Oladipo turned out. But I mean, like, Jesus, like, I mean, like, Kevin Durant has just been like not that good, or not that good, but like not that impactful this playoffs, because he just hasn't been able to play, and when he does play, it's at a minimal amount of time. I mean, granted, they're probably trying to save him for the final, so that they have a better chance against LeBron James. But I mean, just like, wow. I mean, it's just this Golden State Warriors team doesn't really miss a step, and like the fact that they don't need like arguably one of the best players in the league for like in the past 5 years in order to completely dominate teams. I mean, it kind of also shows that there's not a whole lot of parity maybe in the league, but even still, I mean, like, the job that the Golden State Warriors GM has done to draft this team is pretty phenomenal. But I mean, obviously, you know, like how the rest of this team plays is great. I mean, and like you said, I do think like one of the bigger questions is going to be like how how Coach Brown relates and is able to manage this team while Steve Kerr is out for an undetermined amount of time. And I mean, it's also possible that Kerr doesn't come back for the rest of the playoffs. I mean, like he missed like half a season due to medical issues. I mean, and you hope he gets better soon. But it's just also like, I mean, if this team can't do that, then like obviously, like, I mean, you hope for the best. You hope for the best, but yeah, I mean, that does also open up another question, which is whether or not like Kerr was really the mastermind as much as everyone thought he was during like that 2015 season, where he was able to orchestrate that phenomenal season that they had and on the way to winning the championship. Like, what's your thoughts? Hello?
Basketball is a fun sport.
It is, yeah. Hello, anyone? Is there anybody out there?
I mean, I'm here. Just, you know,
Yeah,
I have zero to say about this.
I know. Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, is Quan even there though? It's like, man, where he's
Well,
at?
I don't know. The good news is that you left a little pause in between your brings up the question and what do you think. So if he never answers the question, then you could just cut that out.
Yeah, he can record the rest of it. Yeah. Do you want to just skip to talking about the Rangers or no?
No, because y'all got to talk Eastern Conference and then figure out what Quan's
Yeah.
doing.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now because I just sent him the message in the group chat, but he's not replying to that one either, so I have no idea what's
Call
going
him.
on.
Call him on his phone.
Uh,
Remember, there's a thing called editing.
I know. The magic of editing. Yeah. We'll be able to get past this. Yeah, let me. All right, calling him now. Oh wow. Okay. So Comcast just flipped out on him or something.
All right, we might as well just wait. It's not like you have anything else to do.
Yeah. Nah, I don't. Outside of like editing a website, but that's pretty much about it.
Oh, you're the webmaster now.
Webmaster for a different organization, but yeah.
Mm.
No worries. Yeah, no. I mean, I was going to ask about like whether or not you think that the fact that the Warriors have been so good even without Steve Kerr, does that disprove that like Kerr is the mastermind coach that everyone thinks he is or no? Yeah. 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 Oh, for sure, yeah. True. Exactly, yeah. Mm.
Is he rebooting?
Yeah.
Mm. Hey, fun fact. Did you know that AJ Griffin has the highest K per 9 rate of any of our starters?
Yeah, because they also can't stop walking. Walking matters, yeah.
That has nothing to do with K9 rate, man.
Oh shit. I
Get
stand
the
corrected then.
records right.
I'm sorry. I was confusing K9 with K over BB. And
AJ Griffin also has the highest K per BB.
yeah. Because you can't divide
His
by
walk rate
zero.
is. Yeah, you can't divide by 0. I get it.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, obviously UT Law would probably be the best one since they have like one of the best immigration centers out there, and I'm thinking of doing immigration law. So, yeah. Outside of that, then like I mean, like at the end of the day, I'm also just like looking to at least get a get scholarship money. You know,
Have you applied yet?
not yet. No, 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 no. I still have to take my LSAT. So
When are you
yeah,
doing that?
September.
Okay, so is that something you can be like, I'm gonna apply for the spring semester next year kind of thing?
Yeah. Or not spring semester, fall semester of next year. Yeah.
So of 2018.
Yeah, and so in between then, I'll probably just get like a service industry job and try to support myself that way.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, yes, it does. Yeah, I mean, I still have my unemployment that's going to be lasting for a while. So, what? Yeah. Well, it says like my benefit year is the 52 weeks from 2017 to 2018. So, I mean, I guess I have like a year to like technically like stretch it out, but. Yeah.
You know that Elvis has a higher OPS than Joey Gallo right now.
Yeah, I could. I could have that one. That one I kind of assumed just because arguably Andrus has been our best hitter. Weirdly,
Yeah,
I mean, granted, this hitting just could. It reminds me a lot of like the mid 2000s Rangers, where it's just like they hit home runs nonstop, but they can't seem to get good situational hitting or just like getting on base, man.
I don't know if that's a mid 2000s thing. I think that's more of a late 90s.
That was
early 2000s.
Late 90s, early 2000s. Maybe late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. But even still, yeah, A-Rod Rangers, Michael Young Rangers a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, Joey Gallo was A-Rod.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Michael Young was good against the Stros, but yeah. What?
Gallo with that 39% strikeout rate right now.
Yeah. But he has like
he got it
10
down.
home runs now?
He got it down to 32 about a week ago, and he's just had a bad week.
A bad week with like multiple home runs this week. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you.
Hello. Okay, I'm gonna hang up.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right.
We Warriors still.
Your Steve Kerr question.
Yeah, just answer it. Yeah, just say what you told me on the phone. Yeah.
Wait, what was the specific wording of the question?
Steve Kerr is a little overrated.
Not at all. I think Steve Kerr, what he's done to that Golden State team in the short time he's been there, has been one of the best coaches in the league. We saw what they were under Mark Jackson, and that was a 6 seed at best, and it was a lot of isolation style basketball. And what they did with Steve Kerr was basically bring back the same team, but implement a more motion style, a lot of cutting, a lot of screening, movement off the ball. And that instantly elevated that team to a championship contender. And I think a lot of what coaching is more the framework of how you set up the offense and defense in the offseason and in preseason. And the drills you instill in the team at the beginning of the year carry throughout the year. And despite them not having him through last year and Luke Walton having success, and then so far this postseason with Mike Brown. I mean, obviously you still have to have great players, and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson elevated their games after Steve Kerr took over, but you have to credit a little bit to Kerr, and I credit a lot for the way they run their offense because it's beautiful to watch.
But that's a good point. Once you put it that way, I agree with you. He's still pretty good. But let's move on to the Eastern Conference, where the Celtics and the Wizards have been going at it. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that?
Hey Simmons, can you redo that? Your voice was breaking up.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, so let's try that again.
Well, maybe Quan can introduce it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And restart it. I don't know how to I don't know how audio works. Quan says it's worse.
Really? Right now?
But,
Yep. Well, hold on. Speak.
all right, let me.
Simmons. Or do whatever. I don't care.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Simmons
Okay,
is
so let's
muted.
move on to the Eastern Conference. So the Washington Wizards and Boston Celtics have played a pretty okay series so far. So game 2 has been the highlight. That one went into overtime, and Washington had a big lead in that one. And then Isaiah Thomas came back at 53 points, and the Celtics got a 2-0 lead. But game 3, Washington came out and they torched the Celtics. Boston couldn't get anything going offensively, and Bojan Bogdanovic had a huge boost off the bench. Obviously, John Wall, Bradley Beal, and I think Otto Porter has stepped his game up this series versus the Atlanta series. It's been a lot of fireworks. There was a couple ejections in game 3. And a lot of physical play between the two teams. They have a history this year playing 4 games in that Eastern Conference. So how do you see this one shaking out? So far, it's been the home teams winning every game, and it's been chalk so far.
I would say I honestly I feel like the Celtics team has like a lot of resolve, a lot of grit. I mean, like twice with the first 2 games in this series. I mean, the Celtics came back to win it. I mean, and I feel like the Celtics team was, oh no, it's still happening.
Yeah, just restart, man.
Restart it. Should I just like stop?
Yeah, go out. Close the window and click on the link again. It won't end it.
Okay.
We just need a studio.
Sure. Let me pony up that money. Sorry if I sounded bitter the other day about the whole. You made that comment about the. Oh, is this what it feels like to be a mid-2000s Boston fan?
Yeah.
Sorry if I sounded bitter. I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, you haven't won any championships. Like.
No, it's all in good fun, man.
And I get that. It's just like it was right after that game where we did absolutely nothing on offense and we just got beat the shit out. I was just like, this is not a good time.
Well, I mean, we saw what the Rockets have done the last 2 games, so maybe I should have shut up.
I know it's just a matter. You can ride the wave, and I get that, but it's just wait till the clincher. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of Atlanta Falcons fans that were bragging the entire Super Bowl until the last quarter.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So where was I going to start? Oh yeah. So yeah, no, I've been actually kind of surprised with this Wizards team because I really expected the Celtics to kind of blow this team out. I will say this. I mean, the Wizards have done a great job, especially with the first two games of the series. Like, I mean, like the Warriors, or not Warriors, Wizards. The Wizards were leading the series, the game going down the stretch, and it's just only been because like Isaiah Thomas is an otherworldly player right now, and like arguably he's one of the he has to be at this. I mean, like there's no question he's top 10, a top 10 player in this league, and arguably top 5 at this point. But Isaiah Thomas is completely just carried this team on his shoulders, especially down the stretch. And it wasn't until this last game where the Wizards finally got over the hump and finally won a game. But I mean, like a lot of that has to do with just like how great Isaiah Thomas has been. He dropped 50 points in game 2 of this series. I mean, and he helped lead the Wizards to not lead the Wizards, lead the Celtics to overtime games and games that the Wizards seem to have in the bag. But yeah, but that being said, I still expect the Celtics team to get over the hump and win this game, win the series. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, the Wizards, I mean, they're definitely playing a lot better than they were against the Hawks. But I mean, it's probably just not going to be enough, and it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, like obviously, if the Wizards get bounced here, I mean, like it's at least a promising team, but they're going to need like an extra player. Like they're going to have to figure out a way to improve this team, because I would say like they have a good 1-2 punch in Bradley Beal and John Wall, and Otto Porter is finally coming into his own. So maybe that's how they really improve. But I still think they need like that one extra player to really put them over the hump. But we'll see.
I mean, Kevin Durant should have been that player, right? But he didn't want to go home. He wanted to join the super team.
Yeah, he could have formed a super team in Washington, but he decided not to. Yeah.
Yeah, but the final series in the East has been a lopsided blowout. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Toronto Raptors. We kind of cautioned this last week in our preview how bad Toronto looked in the first round, and that's carried over. Granted, LeBron James is absolutely amazing right now. He's putting up insane numbers and leading the playoffs in scoring. And Toronto's just defensively, they haven't been able to contain Cleveland shooters. And right now, it looks like it's going to be a sweep. What do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, pretty much that. I mean, it's just like the fact of the matter is that like Cleveland's not even getting much production right now out of Kyrie and Kevin Love due to like injuries and whatnot. But I mean, it's just like it's a testament to just how good LeBron James is. Like, good God, like he's just completely just decimating this Toronto team. I mean, and granted, like I will say this, like I mean, the Raptors just have not been good. Period. This playoffs. I mean, like I'm pretty disappointed in DeMar DeRozan. Just like the way he's been playing, and Kyle Lowry has also just not been that good. I mean, the only consistent player that on that Toronto team seems right now to be Serge Ibaka, and he might be gone at the end of this series. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just sort of like it's sort of just incredible to see just like how much it's like night and day between like regular season Raptors and playoff Raptors this year. But even still, like I mean, like it's really no surprise that the Cleveland Cavs are running away with this at this point. Like I mean, like going into the series, like maybe if like the Toronto Raptors were able to at least find something, they would have been only to like win one game. But I mean, like the sooner this series is over, probably the better for everyone except for the Toronto Raptors. But really, I mean, it's just
and I'll say one thing. I think Dwayne. Yeah, I'll say one thing. I think I'll admire what Dwayne Casey has done in building that Toronto team to be a top 3 seed in the Eastern Conference, but I think they might want to look at a coaching upgrade, because I just don't like what he's done with this team in switching back and forth between Valanciunas and Norman Powell, and just the way they run their offense. It's a lot of isolation style basketball, and I know it was very effective for Cleveland last year in winning the title, but that's if you have Kyrie and LeBron facilitating for everybody else. I don't think Lowry and DeRozan are on that level. And I think if you have a little more motion, I think it could be a benefit for that team. But I mean, that's something that they're going to have to visit in the offseason.
Agreed. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for the NBA playoffs. Let's now move on to MLB, where both of their teams played off against each other. Evan Tenenbaum, what was your take on what happened this week?
All right, well, round 1 of the Lone Star Series is concluded. Houston took round 1 3-1. So congrats to Kwan for beating us. The first series win that Houston's had since 2015 against the Rangers. So we can kind of break down what happened in the 4 games. Game 1, it was pretty set even. Both McCullers and Andrew Cashner are pitching pretty good games. Cashner had some issues with walks early on. He got pulled early, and then the Astros offense kind of beat down the bullpen. to take it 6-2. 2 was much more of an offensive slugging kind of game from both sides. The Rangers pulled out late, but a grand slam by Marwin Gonzalez off of Keone Kela pulled Houston above, and the Rangers couldn't capitalize on the back end, losing 8-7. Game 3 was just a typical bad start from the Rangers side. Offense of the Astros really took advantage of the spot start by Nick Martinez, and also took advantage of an exhausted bullpen, in which we'll talk about in a second. And the Rangers offense couldn't get anything going, so the Rangers lost 10-1. But the Rangers finally salvaged one in Game 4 by, I guess, saving their offense for the last game. Lots of home runs everywhere. Griffin, coming back from his gout that landed on the 10-day disabled list, was able to pitch a pretty good game, and really held off the Astros in a 10-4 win. So, I guess gameplay-wise, what did you guys see in this first round of the Lone Star Series that stood out to you?
For me, well, going game by game, first one, Lance McCullers. I love Lance McCullers. That guy brings fire every time he goes to the mound. And what happened in that kind of incident that they had in Game 1 was Andrew Cashner hit 2 Astros in the first couple of innings, and then Mike Napoli went deep off of McCullers, and McCullers just, let's say he let one get away, and he threw behind Mike Napoli the next time they came up, and Napoli obviously didn't like that. And the bench is cleared. And I just think that this is a moment for the Astros that they've gotten off to this great start, and the last 2 years they haven't done that. And they haven't played well against the Rangers, and this is just a moment that we're not going to take that from them anymore. Kind of like we're on the same level of you guys, and we may be better than you guys now. And we're AL West, like we've arrived as like a good team in the AL West, and we're here to stay. And we're not going to take you Cashner hitting 2 of our guys and not retaliate, that sort of deal. And we can talk about how, like, in baseball, this whole retaliation, hitting guys after they homer off you isn't, like, whether or not that's good enough for the game. But I think the way the game is played right now and the way the game's always been played is are making a statement that they're not going to be punks anymore by the Rangers. And I mean, we saw that in the first 3 games. The offense has just, the Rangers have issues in their bullpen, and the Astros took advantage through most of the series. I will say one note that the bullpen, which I had been raving about so far, it struggled a bit this past week. Luke Gregerson on May 4th did not seize the force and did not use the force for good, as he, he's just continued to give up runs, and he doesn't look like the pitcher that was so effective for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. And then we've seen struggles from Ken Giles as well. And so, relievers are going to go through their ups and downs throughout the year, but they were so good to start the year, and they've run into a bit of a rough patch.
Yeah, for me, again, like what was mentioned before, and this has really been the story of this season for the Rangers. Has just been a terrible bullpen, honestly. And you mentioned that, like, obviously the Rangers bullpen was pretty much exhausted by the end of the series because they had to dig into it so much, especially with Yu Darvish having to skip a start because he had to throw 120 pitches on Saturday.
He didn't skip a start. He just moved back a day, by the way.
Yeah, he moved back, but like he had to, basically, because he needed extra rest. We needed to plug in Alex Claudio for a spot start, and he actually did a pretty decent job.
You did that in Factual too. Claudio did the spot start because Hamels got pulled.
Ah, man, I got confused.
Redo that. Redo that.
All right. And 3, 2, 1. So the story of this season so far, and it was the big story again through this series against the Astros, has been the fact that the Rangers have been have had a terrible bullpen, and like the fact of the matter is that like even this week, like they not only were they terrible, they were also tired. Especially is because two things that happened. One, Cole Hamels having to basically due to injury, having to pull out and be replaced by Alex Claudio, who did decently okay in his spot start, and then you had Nick Martinez filling in and just was not good. But really, right now, I mean, it's just like this team is struggling to find any sort of consistent production out of the bullpen. That can be carried over from game to game. I mean, like Matt Bush has at least like stepped in and is looked as a decent closer. But like outside of that, really, it's just I mean, you have Alex Claudio as like kind of your long relief, but like also at this point, he's also been like also one of your most consistent relievers right now. So maybe he becomes like the setup guy, or maybe just like the guy that comes in to put out fires. But um, I mean, I don't know at this point what you do to fix this bullpen outside of like trying to make trades. Which I mean, again, I mean, like, does this Rangers team have enough ammo in terms of farm talent in order to like like get the talent, but also have enough still left over to help replenish an increasingly aging team. But that being said, in terms of good news, I mean Joey Gallo has been like has been keeping up his power. I mean, granted, also his strikeout rate has gone up significantly again. You'd like to see him try to get that back down again. But he's gotten, I think, like now like he's nine or 10 home runs this season. So I mean, and it's nice to see that. But I would say the best hitter right now is Elvis Andrus, who actually has a higher OPS than Joey Gallo. And I think he's right now hitting point 280 or something like that.
296.
296. Oh, wow. Okay, 296. Like, yeah, he's just been phenomenal. So I mean, like, he's finally like I know like people have been sort of criticizing him ever since he got that extension from at the beginning and wasn't really like hitting up to par. But I mean, he's now become like arguably the offensive leader in place of Adrian Beltre on this team, as Adrian Beltre still tries to work his way back from injury. So we'll see how things go forward. I mean, like it might be interesting to see if Elvis Andrus gets plugged in at the second or third spot in the lineup. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, like we've been saying these past couple weeks, it's really hard to gauge what this team's wanting to do. I want to talk specifically about this series, the impacts of just what happened. I think you got lucky by not having to face Keuchel in this 4-game series. You should have taken advantage of that. You got to look at the two guys you took advantage of were Mike Fiers and Musgrove, in getting runs off of them. But the other two guys, Charlie Mord and Lance McCullers, you should have been able to take advantage of at least one of them and try and done something. But the offense was so anemic that you had to have had perfect pitching on the other side. And that didn't quite happen. And then the other factor, I guess, that went into it was Hamel's injury, not being able to have one of your top of the rotation pitchers pitch for you, and you having to already burn one of your relievers to make an emergency start. That really puts the pressure on the rest of your bullpen. That basically took Claudio out of the rest of the series. That pushed a significant amount of relievers to go right after Claudio. So the sequencing was really off, and also I don't understand what they're doing with Jose Leclerc. He pitched on Tuesday for 1 inning, and he hasn't pitched since. He's one of your best relievers this year. I don't understand why they're not using him. If they're trying to call him because he's a rookie, I just don't understand that. If he's injured, then he should have been on the DL already. Like we need better relievers. We don't need to always rely on the ones that are struggling, specifically Jeremy Jefferson and Tony Barnett. Though Barnett did pitch 3 innings last night to keep the Rangers in the game. Anyway, my point is special circumstances
Where are you at, Evan? Evan?
We're passing it around like the plate at church.
Yeah, the plague. Yeah. No, like the plague at church in medieval Europe.
Oh, well, the plate also, I guess. The
Yeah, that
offering
too.
dish.
That too. Well, I mean, both me and Evan are Jewish, so yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about.
There's no.
But yeah, no, Evan.
Oh, now there's two.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got kicked.
Two.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the last
Kicked
thing?
or cacked?
Who's kicking you, man? Violence.
Who
Top
what was the last thing you
Top
heard
kick.
from me?
Anyway. Oh.
Was it Carlos Gomez? Come on, man.
I don't know if it was Carlos Gomez.
No, I was talking about the bullpen.
Yeah, bullpen. So Tony Barnett. You started talking about Tony Barnett.
Okay. So my point is that there are individuals in the bullpen that are improving, but there are also individuals in the bullpen that are taking the place and having bad outings. So it's really hard to gauge interest in who's really good, who's really bad, who do we need to trade off, who do we need to demote, that kind of thing. And so it's literally just a matter of taking time. Remember, we are in May. We have 4.5 months of baseball left. We don't need to freak out and start thinking about selling the farm. Now, needless to say, we did drop 3 games to Houston, and we're further back in the playoff race now. So we got to start thinking about options here. So I mean, you can look at some vets that are having a pretty good year. Carlos Gomez is having a good defensive year, defensively at least. His offense comes and goes. He might be a target. Jonathan Lucroy will always net somebody. Yu Darvish, as much as I hate to say it, could net some great prospects if he continues as good at the trade deadline. But like I said, 4.5 months left of baseball. Anything can happen. So I think as far as losing one series to the Houston Astros, we shouldn't freak out about it. The one more thing I would like to say about the series is I do like the intensity heating up between the two teams. We know Bregman tweeted out that hashtag before the series, beat the expletive out of the Rangers, kind of to try and fire up his teammates. Obviously, he apologized later, but I think it did wonders in really firing up that Astros offense and making sure that they were up to speed and being able to finally beat their demons and beat the Rangers in a series. Obviously, the bench clearing brawl, probably some misunderstandings. I don't think Cashner intentionally hit those two guys. Obviously, I'm biased, and I do think McCullers was, throwing behind him for a reason. But that's just the game of baseball, and I think that this intense rivalry is good. In bringing a narrative to the rivalry of these two teams. So more of that, less of brawls, but more of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, I do enjoy seeing this passion between them, especially since, like, in general, also with like baseball, it's like sometimes it can be hard to sort of like translate the passion that's going on onto the field, and to finally see that like spill over has been nice. And even if the Rangers do lose the season series to the Astros and lose the silver boot, I mean, like, I still think this Rangers team can make the playoffs as a wild card. But I mean, like, I would still say this. I mean, like, and obviously, like you said, it's a bit early to start considering like trading off assets. Although that being said, like, if we can maybe trade away Lucroy and get something back, I mean, obviously, I don't expect us to get like anyone on the caliber of, say, like Lewis Brinson or Luis Ortiz. But if we can get something back for Lucroy, that would be phenomenal, especially with the way that Robbins Chirinos has been performing in spot starts. I mean, it's just like I mean, Robbins Chirinos, for all intents and purposes, has been out hitting like Lucroy decently. Although I will say Lucroy has seemingly turned things around a little bit during the season. I mean, like, both. I don't know if we should get into specifics right now, but I mean, obviously, like me and Evan went to see a game on Saturday, one where Yu Darvish threw 120 pitches, got through 6 innings, and struck out 10 Angels batters, and they won the game, as well as Carlos Gomez hitting for the cycle. But Lucroy, he was hitting it deep. He was hitting it far. I mean, he's hitting it to the same place, granted, but he was getting his bat on the ball, and so that was nice to see. But yeah, no, I mean, again, I mean, just going forward, I mean, like, if there is a trade, I would expect, if of the players that the Rangers already have that might get traded away, Lucroy is the most likely. I still think that they're going to try to re-sign Yu Darvish at the end of the season, no matter what. Just because, again, like, I mean, they don't have anyone like that on the system, in their system on the farm. And like, obviously, like, Cole Hamels is getting a little bit older, and so Cole Hamels is a great, at this point, number 2 starter, but I mean, Yu Darvish is Yu Darvish to me. But I mean, obviously, we'll see what happens. I mean, if they start selling off pieces, then they might have to also start selling off, consider selling off Adrian Beltre, and I would absolutely hate to see that. Like, that's just blasphemy, even me mentioning that. So, forgive me, based Beltre. So,
All right, I'm gonna do some real quick Rangers notes, just to kind of wrap up them. They did end up winning last night in 13 innings, 3-1 against the Mariners. Again, more anemic offense. It's gonna happen in cycles, but you like to see that pitching coming out. And honestly, one of the brighter spots of the Rangers so far this year is their starting pitching rotation. They are currently 3rd in quality start percentage. So they're giving you a chance to win. It's just a matter of can the offense take advantage and can the bullpen hold it. Last night they did that. Other notes, we mentioned the Hamels injury being taken out. He has a oblique strain. He's going to be out for 8 weeks. That's a really tough blow to this rotation. It's going to be a matter of can the rest really take advantage, and pitch better. AJ Griffin's already taken that first step, and he had another quality start coming back from his gout. It's just a matter of the rest doing it. Also, Jurickson Profar got demoted and put in AAA to get regular at bats at shortstop. I'm thinking he may not come back to be a starter on the Rangers unless we trade off assets. And it's sad because he had so much potential and he never took advantage of it, specifically last year and this year. In the meantime, Pete Cosmo was claimed off waivers, and he'll be getting those quote unquote up bats that Profar would have gotten. And to wrap up for next week, the Rangers play a home and home against the Padres, 2 in San Diego and then 2 at home, and then they play at home 3 with Oakland. So slightly easier teams. Maybe they'll get back on track. Maybe they'll finally hit 500 sometime next week. Quan, what are the Astros doing outside of being the Rangers?
Yeah, so I actually attended a game last weekend as well. I watched the Sunday win over the Oakland A's. I watched Cy Keuchel in person. He was the first in the majors to 5 wins, and he is absolutely back to 2015 Keuchel. He's hitting the corners, and there just wasn't much of solid contact off of him, off the Oakland A's hitters, and they were completely off balance throughout the most of the afternoon. And the first pitcher in franchise history to go 7 innings, allowing 2 or fewer runs in the first 6 starts of the year. And he also, his 5 wins in April tied the franchise record for the month and which was set by Roger Clemens in his Cy Young season of 2004. And he also won Pitcher of the Month, and so I think he has the most Pitcher of the Month awards in team history now. And so, yeah, he's definitely back to his 2015 form and much needed, because the rest of this pitching staff, McCullers has been good at home. Morton has been a pleasant surprise for what you expected him to be, which is a number 3, number 4 starter. Musgrove's home road splits are like Ryan Anderson's. They're completely off balance. And Mike Fiers is what Mike Fiers is going to be. He's going to give up a lot of home runs as a fly ball pitcher. But Colin McHugh, who was shut down for 6 weeks, he's with the team again. He's coming back. He had that dead arm in spring training, and he tried to make a rehab start, and the team just shut him down. And so if he can get back by, let's say, around the All-Star break, perhaps, I think that's going to be a boost for the pitching staff, especially if McHugh is what he was in 2015, which was a 20-game winner. Offensively, Marwin Gonzalez is on fire. He hit 4 home runs in 4 days for the team, and he actually leads the team in home runs, which who would have thought that coming the year?
Yeah,
Him being a utility player.
What the hell's with Marwin Gonzalez? Like, he breaks up Yu Darvish's perfect game. Then he goes off in this series as a platoon player. I don't get it.
Well, I think if you talk about like utility players in the game, like guys off the bench, he's probably one of the top 3 in baseball right now. And he's always been able to hit for a solid batting average. It's just with him, you don't want to use him too much because the more at bats he gets, I guess the lower his batting average. But like in spot starts, he's great, and his power numbers, we've never really seen this from him. He's really been a guy that's been just slapping the ball the other way, and to get that power boost is unexpected but needed, because Alex Bregman, who they penciled in as their number 2 hitter for the next decade, has really struggled, and he's turned it around a little bit at the bottom of the lineup. He's hitting around 7th now, and he's raised his batting average a little bit. Also, Carlos Correa has been turning it around. He made some mechanical adjustments after his slow start, and he's raised his batting average about 20, 30 points the past couple of weeks. Carlos Beltran has hit a bit of a lull in terms of his hitting, but that's kind of expected. They've kind of used him sparingly throughout, trying to preserve his 40-year-old body for the stretch run and this being a marathon season. And so the notes from the offense, I mean, they continue to be the top hitting team, and they've come back from 5-0 deficits, I think 3 times this year already, which shows that if the starting pitchers can just kind of settle down if they get off this rough starts. And I think there's a start, Joe Musgrove, a couple of weeks ago. He gave up 4 runs in the first inning, but then he threw 5 scoreless after that. If the starting pitchers can do that, this offense is going to wake up. And there's so many bats up and down the lineup: Josh Reddick, Brian McCann, Evan Gattis, even. And with Correa heating up, I mean, that offense is something that we're so unaccustomed to watching the past couple of years, but it's carrying this team right now, along with Dallas Keuchel, of course. So this upcoming week, they are in Anaheim this weekend to play the Angels. They're going to finish that up, and then they're going to play 2 games at home with the Braves, and then they go out to New York to face the red-hot Yankees and Aaron Judge, who's killing baseballs right now for them.
All right, y'all want to do Adam Jones?
Yeah.
All right, Nathan, you want to introduce?
Yeah. So let's move on from some Texas baseball to an even more, I'd say, serious topic right now. So this past week, the Baltimore Orioles played in Boston in a very heated series, and I would say one of the big reasons why things really heated up there was because of some really despicable actions from the Boston fan base. I would say I believe it was the first game of the series. Some people hurled racial slurs against Adam Jones, and once it came out, there were quite a few other players who talked about how whenever they go to Boston, that's something that happens. I mean, Evan, what's your take?
Well, I personally don't think it's a Boston issue. I do think there is a culture in Boston to be proud and hearty and say what's on your mind. So maybe that's where that's coming from. Obviously, these are drunk fans. Some of these fans really don't know what they're talking about. They have black players on the Boston Red Sox. They've had it historically in the past. So I think it's just a matter of the combination of alcohol and just poor judgment. I don't think necessarily Boston's the issue. And I think as a professional athlete, you kind of sort of need to get used to it. And I understand the whole I can't be silent about it anymore. But you're going into this profession understanding that people will throw criticisms that maybe are unwarranted your way, and the way to get past this is just to ignore them and just play baseball, because that's what you're paid to do pretty much. Nevertheless, I still want to I still understand where Adam Jones is coming here, and I understand why he and his agent are upset at this point. Really, no one should be spoken to that way. Um, so I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, Evan, wholeheartedly. It's not a Boston thing. It's more just individuals in a situation that are completely out of line. I mean, I went to a game last year in Boston at Fenway Park, and I would say it was a game against the Blue Jays, and I would say the Toronto fans were actually more rude and rambunctious than the Red Sox fans, which everyone I interacted with, the ones I was sitting next to, were extremely nice. And one of them saw me keeping score, and he was like, "Oh, what happened last inning? I missed that play." And so, I mean, my experience in Boston, and obviously, I credit their fans. I mean, the next day they gave Adam Jones a standing ovation, and there was an incident in the crowd where I believe the national anthem was being sung by an African American woman, and a fan made a comment, and there's another fan that pointed that confirmed with that fan what he said, and then he called over an usher, and they actually kicked that fan out of the stadium. And so I think it's just I think the majority of people aren't like that. It's just I think we're in a day and age where this is unacceptable for people to be making comments like that. And credit the Red Sox and Major League Baseball for saying that they're not going to stand for this, and they're going to look into any situations where language like that is used.
Yeah, I agree with you guys there. I mean, I didn't mean to necessarily say that this was only happening in Boston. I mean, like this happens anywhere. I mean, like obviously you bring up Toronto. I mean, in Toronto, I mean it wasn't necessarily just like race based, but I mean also I remember I'll always remember how they treated the Rangers during the 2015 playoffs, and how they threw beer onto the field, and almost hit babies that were like that were below. But I will also say this. I mean, like it's not just the criticisms being thrown at them. I mean, like yeah, most people are used to like sort of like people throwing like trash talk at them. But I mean, like once you like enter into like sort of like racial slurs, I mean, it just goes beyond just like trash talking. It shows just like a deep and profound like disrespect. Like I mean, for like a group of people, just solely for like their skin color and for like their ethnicity, and just like and kind of very discriminatory as well. I mean, like you look at I mean, and it's so strange too that like you have Boston fans who will go like these specific Boston fans. I mean, not all of them, but like maybe these specific ones who go from cheering on like people like Jackie Bradley and Mookie Betts, like two of their best players on their team who are African American, and then they turn around and they start basically denigrating someone who's of the same race, who's of the same like ethnicity, and it's just it's absolutely absurd. And I think granted, like a lot of this is sort of like coming to like a breaking point. I mean, I would say like Adam Jones, like this is probably not the first time that he's had people throw like racial slurs at him, but I think we're sort of like in a day and age where like I mean, like you like ever since the election, like people are a heck of a lot more like attuned to those types of things, because it's just like those things now like really kind of do matter, because like now you kind of have to double take and sort of think about it, and it's like, well, like are you really just like really trying to make a mistake, or do you actually believe this, like and that's something that a lot of people have sort of I think been questioning, not just in baseball but just in general. Is just like if you use a racial slur, I mean, like are you just like being a dickhead, or are you like genuinely like kind of racist? And I think like a lot of people are like, and me included, I mean, like if you use a racial slur, I mean, like I wouldn't exactly say like you were super respectful of that person's ethnicity to begin with, so and to some extent I would say like yeah, like that person is kind of racist to say the least. And that granted, I would say like I also really do like the actions that were taken by Boston, the MLB. Boston actually did go so far as to ban people that they were able to confirm did use those racial slurs, and they're banned from Fenway for life, which is crazy to think about. But at the same time, like I think it's warranted at this point, especially to make to make that go forward. And I mean, I don't, and I granted, like as Quan did mention, alcohol, when you as Quan and Evan did mention, yeah, alcohol does bring out the worst in people. But I mean, like, even though like alcohol is involved, I mean, it doesn't really excuse it. And I mean, like, if you were, if that was brought out of you, then that was in you at some point. And so it's just like, it's just whether or not like you're willing to admit that like that type of thinking is a mistake, and that you should take it upon yourself to fix it. Or if you're just going to say like, nah, like you guys are the ones that are like, or like in something that I've seen from a lot of people, like not just in baseball, but just in general, who have been like, yeah, no, you guys are being too sensitive and all that. You guys should get over it. Like those types of people, like I'm getting kind of sick of that type of thinking, because it's just like it's moving the burden of like trying to get better from that person who's the one that needs to be like improving themselves, and trying to put the burden on other people that they're actually harming with their actions to some extent, and are like making those people feel like unsafe to some extent, and just denigrating them. It's something that you sort of see from bullies, or from like kind of somewhat abusive people, when they try to like shift the blame from themselves to someone else for being the victim. And it's just like, like at a certain point, you just have to grow up and just be like, you know what, I'm the asshole. I need to grow up. And I apologize for using that type of language, but it's just also like, this is something that like really gets my goat a bit. And so I just want to say, like, yeah, I'm just sort of like glad to see that like people are trying to take this a little bit more seriously.
Quan, do you want to go, or do you want me to go?
Well, I was just gonna ask, what do you guys think the rights of fans should be? Because I feel like now there's an age where trash talking, like there's a certain line, and like what is that line? Like should fans be allowed to like shout things at players, warranted or not warranted? I mean, obviously, no, racial things like that is across the line, but like shouting, like heckling them for other things, like what is the line for fans, you guys think?
Everything revolves around context, in my opinion. Like some of the stuff that I would think of as off limits, like when Josh Hamilton was on the Rangers, and they went to the Yankees in the ALCS in 2010. He got called a bunch of names: a drunk, a cocaine addict. People threw stuff at his wife and the other Rangers pitchers' wives. I think all that stuff's off limits, even though there was nothing racially contextually racial about it. I think anything that doesn't involve their game on the field is off limits. So anything about being in a losing streak, or being bad in a slump, that's fair game. Anything revolving the rivalry between two teams, whether it's Astros Rangers, or Yankees Red Sox, or in this context the Red Sox and Orioles, who had more beanballs this series too, and benches clearing. That's all fair game. But when it devolves into personal issues and specifically racial issues, that's completely off limits, and that's where I would stand.
Yeah, I totally agree. There's an incident that reminds me like way back when in the mid 90s, when Vernon Maxwell, who is known as an enforcer and kind of a crazy guy on the court, but he went into the stands in Portland one day, and apparently a fan had heckled him about his wife had lost their child right after birth, and the fan had made a comment about the stillborn of his child. And I totally agree. That's something personal, and that's not on the court, on the field.
Yeah, pretty much agreed with everything that's been said there. Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely a line, and I mean, like honestly, like you got to treat these people like, I mean, like that's the other thing too, is just because they're like athletes, or they're there for your entertainment, doesn't mean that you can't treat them like human beings. And like you like, and that's something that sort of always like gets to me, is also just like, why would you treat another human being that way? And it's just Again, like I mean, like obviously, like going like it's not just like racial things that get are that need to stop, but also just like going like even like especially obviously like going so far as assault, like throwing and spitting on like players and players' wives. I mean, I remember also like the Yankees during that Yankees series in 2010 that they actually spit on Misty May Trainer because we had Matt Trainer on our team. I mean, like she's an Olympic hero. But yeah. So that was like weird for the Yankees fans to do that. But like obviously calling people like and being getting personal about it is just that to me I think is off limits. But yeah. Evan, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so I do think like you guys mentioned, Boston did a good job afterwards, apologizing to Adam Jones, and the MLB did the same um, in basically the way you would treat your players. And then on the other flip side, you gotta look into Pittsburgh. Um, Gift Ngope, um, who just got called up from Indianapolis, got a standing ovation when he got his first hit. Gift is the first African-born player in over 100 years to play in the majors, and so the ovation and I guess the treatment that he got was outstanding, and I commend Pittsburgh for doing that. And again, congrats for him to making it to the majors, and he's doing a pretty okay job in Pittsburgh so far. So that's the kind of stuff you really want to see in baseball.
Absolutely. I guess do you guys want to now move on to shoutouts or?
Yeah.
All right. I'll start. Or okay, so here's like a sensitive topic though. And everyone, unmute your microphones, just so that we can talk about this one. Should we at least say like condolences and rest in peace to Harrison Brown and his family, or just
I, I don't know. It's not very sports related, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, but I mean, we all went to UT, and so I mean, that's something that like does kind of like that does relate to us.
Okay.
You want to say it?
You do it at the end because I wanted to
Do it at the
shout
end.
out Gomez again.
Sure, definitely, yeah. So yeah, I'll bring that up in the end. Yeah, we'll do that. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. Does that sound good to everyone?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right. All right, let's move on to shoutouts now. First shout out I want to do Dallas Stars this Saturday got the 3rd overall pick in this year's NHL draft. They originally were slated for, I believe, the 8th or 9th overall pick, but due to the lottery, they were able to move up, and now they have the 3rd overall pick. And so it's going to be interesting to see whether or not they keep it or if they try trading it in a package to get someone that can contribute right now, especially since this Dallas Stars team, yes, they were not that good this season, but a lot of that had to do with injuries to their star players, specifically Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. And right now, I mean, this team is still has the window of contending. And that being said, also it's going to be whether or not they feel they can get someone that can contribute while Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin are still in their prime. I mean, Jamie Benn right now is 28. I believe Seguin right now is 27. I'd say they have like maybe 3 more years of like still being like right in the midst of their prime, but at the same time, like it's that window's kind of closing a bit, and they haven't even made it to the Western Conference Finals yet. So, I mean, you hope that they can finally get some help, and hopefully they can maybe get some goalie help as well, especially if the Anaheim Ducks, who if they win one more game against Edmonton, move to the Western Conference Finals. And that the reason that's significant for the Dallas Stars is because if they make it that far, then the Stars get the Anaheim Ducks first round pick this year too. So they they might end up with 2 first-round picks this year, and so that should give them some ammo to at least trade for some help right now if they decide to. If not, then they might go and draft Miro Heikkinen from Finland's Liga. We'll see. But yeah, that's my shout out. Evan?
Yeah, shout out to Carlos Gomez again, who hit the cycle on Saturday at the game that you and I went to. So it's always cool seeing something historic in person. I'm still keeping my ticket stub for as long as I can. Carlos Gomez hit the second one of his career, the 10th cycle in Rangers history. It really capitulated. He wasn't so good for about a week in April, but he had a really good last 2 weeks where he hit 340, 396, 532. So I do think Carlos Gomez can take that and use that to his advantage and have a much better offensive output for the rest of the year. But again, congrats to Carlos Gomez in that situation. Also want to throw a little shout out to any golfers playing in next week's championship, the TPC at Sawgrass, which is actually my favorite course of all time, other than Augusta. I played a bunch of Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2000, and Sawgrass was my absolute favorite course. So shout out to those golfers that are going to be taking part in that tournament next week.
How can you not favorite course be St. Andrews, man? Royal home of golf.
Yeah, Evan.
I don't know, man. I just like the idea of having water on every single hole, and one of the holes of which is just an island green, where 60% of the shots go into the water. So I don't know.
You love those pixels, man. You love those pixels, man.
Yep. All right, so shout out for me, Brandon Roy. He was a former NBA player, was an all-star with the Portland Trailblazers before injuries ruined his career. He's a high school basketball coach, and he was wounded this past week because he shielded children away from gunfire outside of his grandmother's home in LA. And so shout out to Brandon Roy for putting his body on the line for the kids. And also shout out to LeVar Ball, who continues to make his son look like the NBA phenom who just puts him in a bad light. LeVar Ball released a shoe this week for his son, and it's going to cost $495. And so I don't think they're going to sell many of those, but we're going to see. I think Michael Jordan's shoe costs like $185, and so clearly he's I think overselling his product a bit.
Yeah, maybe just a bit. Also, shout out to some more NFL draft guys. I know last week I mentioned Ryan Switzer. I mean, I looked into his tape a bit more. I'm a little bit less peeved than I was last week. This guy should at least be a great punt returner. But shout out to Xavier Woods, not the football player, not the wrestler. Because he was the one that I actually wanted them to pick in the 4th round, and they were able to trade up and get him in the 6th round. So shows me for being a worry wart. Shout out to Xavier Woods as well as Noah Brown. I believe Joshua Ivy, Marquez White. And I'm forgetting someone, but he's I believe an offensive tackle. I apologize if he listens to this and I forget his name. I apologize, but shout out to everyone else that got drafted. I mean, this ended up being a pretty good draft for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, obviously that a lot of that depending on whether or not Jordan Lewis does get convicted for domestic violence, in which case, screw that guy. But that also being said, I mean, yeah, kudos to the rest of our guys for getting drafted. I mean, Quan, do you remember anyone that got drafted by the Texans in the later rounds?
Nope. I will just say Deshaun Watson, shout out to him for picking number 4, so the Texans fans can hopefully forget about the previous number 4 on the team. That would be Fat Randy Bullock.
Just want to say that the superior number 4 is gonna beat you in preseason this year.
preseason game is, are you really going to put your franchise quarterback out there?
It's game 4. He'll go one series.
Yeah. One series, one touchdown,
That's all we'll need.
Yeah, one touchdown, 1 2-point conversion, just like he did at the end of that Packers game. So.
All right.
And I guess has everyone done their shoutouts yet?
Yeah.
Yep. Wait, do you want to do this before I do the visit our website or after?
I'll do it. I'll do it right now.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, ready and to be a little bit more serious this week, it's with a heavy heart. We send our condolences to the family of Harrison Brown. He was the UT student who lost his life tragically this past week on Monday in a senseless knife attack. The UT community is still reeling from it, and we just send our condolences and our thoughts and prayers with the rest of the family. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I want you guys to visit our website, twnatesonsports.com. Also visit our Facebook page at twnatesonsports. We are still approaching 30 likes. Hopefully we'll get there by this time next week. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music. And you'll get a notification as soon as we release our new episodes. Thank you, Evan, for coming on, and I'll talk to you next week, Nathan.
Talk to you then. All right.